I want to deal with I want to deal with how women control men. Put aside the first man and woman to have been created, and irrespective of the dialogue or the discussion that you want to use or whatever you want to articulate the truth or the subjective truth or the perspective about how the first beings were created. Whatever that is, we're going to put that aside out of the discussion. Outside of the first human, man and woman being created, every other man was created by a woman. There is no man that's on this earth who has lived on this earth for the past 5,000 years that has not been created by a woman. We are all created by a woman. And the first part of a woman's control of a man is how the breast is used to co-opt the man into loving her and for her to control the male. It starts there. It follows thereafter with the female playing with the male, understanding his ego, guiding him into actually who she wants him to be, and structuring his thinking as who she wants him to be. And then when he gets of an older age, when you would have already been matured, cultured, socialized, indoctrinated by all the principles and the structures and the guidelines and the parameters of a female, then he's given to this father to grow him. Then he's already shaped by the female. So women control men from the very first day that they are born. And even before that, in the birth canal, they control the men. What a number of men do not seem to understand when they are talking about you're a macho male or you're an alpha male. We've even got into the stage of now we're speaking about a beta male, and now we're going to this stage where a new term possibly needs to be developed that would be coined to get between the alpha and the beta male, whatever that male is going to be. A new term possibly will be created one of these days to explain the new type of male. But what we do know, even alpha males are controlled by females. And a number of men do not want to seem to deal with that. A number of males think that, listen, let me not deal with the argument when the argument comes up with my woman and I. And that's the first stage of control. A number of men do not seem to understand. The minute you say to a female, I'm not going to speak to you about this matter, you can talk, it is giving her control. And she goes and talk. That is the first sign of giving control. And that starts with the male being told that if you're going to be an alpha male, don't argue with a female. And who say not to argue with a female? A female. So a female who gave you your views, your thoughts, your being, is telling you not to argue with a female. She controls you from day one to your last day of breath without you even realizing. A number of men will have to say to me, but Paul never thought about it like that. I'm saying, think about it. A female controls you in a subtle way, and she starts that control from she gave birth to you. So she understands what it is to control you because she was your mother. She understood who you are. She breastfed you. She gave you life. She subtly indoctrinated you with her type of love, her type of principles, her guidelines, her thoughts, her actions. All of your mother is implanted in you the very first day you're born. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, that a child development in later life starts with from 0 to 5 years. And between 0 to 5 years, who are you grown with and by? Mommy, substantially. And for those men who are substantially grown by their mothers without a father being involved in the process, as a result of these females living into single household, being the mother, being the father, or so they speak, or in my perspective, it is being the sole breadwinner for the family. Those males are totally indoctrinated by a female and therefore are highly likely to exhibit female characteristics because the part of their socialization between 0 and 5 would have been only endorsed and trained and structured by a female. So they substantially don't know what it means to be a male because it is a socialization process between those fundamental years that are going to guide the male into being a male. So if there's an absence of a male in the child's life, and the child I'm referring to here is a male child between 0 and 5 years, that male child is substantially going to reflect the views of a female and the thinking of a female. Wow, that's quite a lot for you to digest what it is. Let me let you understand clearly what I'm actually referring to. Some years ago, I knew this gentleman, and he was a gunman. And I couldn't understand how it is that I would see him with a gun. He's known as a gunman. And yes, he was afraid of his girlfriend. I couldn't understand it. And I was saying to myself, how does he do this? He'll be talking and say, no, man, listen, man, I'm going to go home, your brother, come, I can't buy weapon noise by the woman in the man. Then I tried to say, what is it? I tried to understand what is it that would let a man not fear other people but fear a woman. I couldn't understand it. But no, given that I am a researcher, thinking through things, I realized where it started. He was indoctrinated from day one. He never told me who his father was, never told me if he grew with a father. No, he's actually dead, killed by one of his cronies. I can think through what happened to explain the phenomena. That was, I think he was grown by a female, and that his early socialization was substantially in a female household. And he was grown, he had the opportunity of understanding what it means to be a male long after being grown in those early critical years by a female. And therefore, does not understand what it means to be a male. And therefore, when he gets an opportunity in life later, he was actually taught how to be a male on the road and therefore picked up a gun. But when he comes back to his woman, he became soft again because he's back to mommy. The fact that he was grown by mommy, he still have that early socialization where he understands to listen to the woman's voice, listen to what the woman say, which is substantially what a number of females know, a number of males do not understand. Males are taught to listen to the females, obey the females, and the mothers indoctrinate their sons into being submissive individuals to them. It is that early socialization that the men take over and use later in life and are tricked by females. And some persons call those gentlemen Sims. They're not really Sims. It's just that simp. They're not really simp. It's just that they were indoctrinated so much into accepting the views of the females as being dominant that even in their later life, they're going to do exactly what the female want them to do because the female reflect mommy. You may not necessarily understand everything that I'm saying, but I want you to think carefully and listen to me with an open ear because I really want a number of persons to understand that women are controlling men to the point where we're going to see more social decay as women do not seem to understand who they are and what their role is in our contemporary society. More men are going to be killing women. More men are going to be trying to defend themselves. But because the world is so structured, and many of them would have been so socialized by females, that killing the female is the only way they see as becoming independent from these females, breaking the cycle. That's exactly what they are going to do. And more men are going to do this until we understand the importance of getting back the fathers in the homes to grow males from 0 to 5 years that are critical a part of the socialization structure of an individual in later life. Here are females' view of what I'm discussing to understand clearly why I'm saying women are controlling men. A number of men are not simps. It simply started out from the family structure that is substantially a female one, and the females having the authority to socialize the boys without the father's involvement in those critical years, 0 to 5 years. Here, this female on the matter to explain or to even give you some perspective that I'm forwarding to you from a female's perspective on the matter of males being controlled by females in a subtle manner from early socialization as a result of the family structure or the breakdown in the nuclear family structure.
It's y'all, okay? Because y'all be like, oh, well, she can't control me. But yet, in the same breath, you'll say, oh, well, I didn't say nothing because I want to keep the peace. First of all, that's a sign of you being controlled by her, because at the end of the day, if you are saying that you're going to keep the peace by not voicing what's concerning to you or what your opinion is or something that you would like to talk about, if you're keeping that bottled in, that is a form of you allowing her to control you. So as much as you say, like, I'm an alpha and I'm a man's man and this and that, if you speak out of your mouth, I'm just going to keep the peace, that is you stuffing things down that are concerning to you. Okay. So this is the thing, guys. You have to have a spouse that actually listens to you and they see you as important and they see what's important to you as important. Because if not, then you'll get into the happy wife, happy life. And that's exactly what that is. You don't never even have to say it, but for you to sit up there and say, oh, I'm just going to keep the peace, that's the same as that. So happy life, happy wife. I debunked that years ago. And I said, the reason why y'all do that is because you're appeasing her, right? You're being a people pleaser. I debunked that years.
Now, let me explain to you fully what is actually going on there. And I'm going to put the clip in the description. When you allow people to dictate the future, dictate the pace, dictate things, they have controlled you. And a number of women are controlling men from an early age as 0 when they come out of that birth canal. They tell them what to speak and they'll actually say to them, shh, don't talk. They let them laugh. They are the ones that teach the children, the boys, how to laugh, how to play, how to this. Because substantial, the families now are grown by those females. So from an early age, the men are socialized, cultured. I would go as far as use another term, indoctrinated by females into females' desires and wants without knowing that they are creating a female mindset into these males. Men need to understand clearly that if you're going to find a female and she is going to talk and you have to shut up, you are being controlled by that female. You ought to, and she ought to understand as well, that if she says something, you are going to give a rebuttal, you're going to give your perspective, because you're not going to be controlled by her. If it is men that you cannot find a female that will allow you to express yourself when she actually interjects or when she put forward a perspective, that is control. And men, I'm saying, get out of any such relationship, whether it's a business relationship, or an emotional relationship, or a sexual relationship. Get out of that relationship. It is men subtle control that is going back to your early socialization, 0 to 5. And a number of us men, a number of men were not grown in a household with a male. You are grown substantially a female, and therefore all of those traits and characteristics that were indoctrinated in you between 0 and 5 will later come to haunt you. And this is what the woman normally would use to control you in the future when you become a man, when you have children with them. That to the point where a man would be with a woman, she becomes pregnant for another man, and then asks the man why I can't support the child. Because it is your child. Listen to the argument. That is a state of control. Because she understands that you want to be a father. Because she knows it is critical in life for men wanting to be fathers. So what she does is to use what you desire as an individual to control you. That's what women do. Control. They've been controlling men for years. And a number of men are not seeing it. But what we need to do as men is to begin to look at things critically. And a number of particular Jamaican women, when they do not want a man to speak with his control, let's say a mama man, or you're a Battyman, which means gay, because what that is, that will hurt a macho male so much that he does not speak, and by not speaking, it gives her control. But a man who is macho in nature and decide, listen, he's not going to accept that, and you say that to me, argue the issues, and remind her of the issues that are being discussed, she will hate you for life. Because she recognizes that you are not controlled by her thoughts and actions. And for you, you're a dangerous man for her. Because you can see through her guise, and you're not gullible as other men, or easily fooled like other men, or not controlled like other men. Men, I'm saying to you, wise up. Look into things. If you're going to be a man, be a man. If you want somebody to control you, then you can say to her, you can control me. But why are you going to be a man and be crippled and controlled by the subtlety of a woman and be destroyed by that same woman? Because if a woman controls you, ultimately she's going to destroy you. I want to hear what your thoughts are, both men and women. This one is quite a lot, but what do you have to say? May I have your opinion? How women control men is what I just discussed. I want to hear your opinion.